All right. So I want to just jump straight in as we go today. Hi guys, hope you can hear me. My name is Leif Wallace, and I really want to just share with you some key things that I've seen from Figma that I think are going to be super beneficial for all of us today. So let's just jump straight in, and then we're going to go through all of the key things that I've seen from their new platform that I think is going to be really good. So Figma 2023, their updates, man, I gotta say, this is some of the best updates I've seen from Figma coming through. It's going to be super beneficial for us as designers, and specifically how they've kind of brought design and development closer together. So I'm gonna just jump straight in and just check it out. I think I might make this as like a two-part video. There's a couple things that I'm going to touch on today, and then I'm going to do another video where I go deeper into it. So one of the key things I can see is this kind of design and development, or this development mode, which is really interesting. A new space in Figma where you can specifically have your development processes a lot clearer, easier to understand, and it's more helpful for developers as well. So I'm still getting my head into it. I'm still going through it. One of the key things I can see is like this big switcher that's changed. So when you're in Figma and you've got some designs that you've worked on, so I've here some, prepared earlier ideas. So let's say I've got a design that I've worked on. I can boom, switch to developer mode. And then while it's in developer mode, on the right hand side here, you could see how the panel has completely changed. So from dev resources that can be connected in, from Jira, Storybook, GitHub, etc. The way that padding shows up and the way you get this kind of preview of the component itself, right? And then let's say that component is connected to multiple different states. Then you can actually have this playground where you can open the playground. And then here is now where you can actually go through and test it out. So actually, let me go a bit deeper. Let me check out this component. Let's look at it, do it one level up. And then here we can now go and make changes based upon however you've designed it. So let's say my default state, I have got a changer here for, buttons, icons, etc. So then a developer can basically open up the playground and begin to play around with some of the components that you've created to see how they are, which is quite interesting. They get this CSS actual preview. Obviously text is previously how it was, any connections to any tokens that you may have in colors, etc., and any assets created as well, with the ability to have a quick export functionality as well, which is like really good. You can see any plugins that you may want to quickly connect in. So you might have a link to Linear or link to Storybook, GitHub, etc., and you might want that quick connection in, but you can do it from the developers panel, so specifically for developers. So the kind of like I can kind of see what Figma is doing here, or what they're doing. It's quite interesting. So you can see where Figma is basically saying we want development to come a little bit closer to design, and design to be closer to development. I actually really love this. So basically what I like, this developer status. So let me show you how it works. So if I just turn this off at the moment, what happens is when you have a design, so let me just take this out. When you have a design, press Command Shift on your keyboard or Command S on your keyboard, and you get a section, the ability to open up and create a section. That's not the only way you can do it. You can go up in here in the frames panel and it says section. So it's just Shift and S, Shift and S. I said Command Shift before, apologies, Shift and S. So you may label that, you might label that dashboard or home or whatever you're labeling. Now, once you've labeled it, I always like to give my things a little, my sections a background color. Once I've given it a background color, I also like to give it a stroke color, make that stroke color a bit thicker as well. And I like to round it off to me being a bit pedantic, but yeah, maybe not so heavy. You don't have to do all that, guys, but that's just me. So what I like to do is that once that's super clear and I've got that in a section, whatever frame or a combination of frames. So you can see here, I've got one frame. Over here, you can see I've got a combination of frames. You see here's one I've made earlier, as they say. So now I'm working on this one. For example, I wouldn't use a blue. I would most probably say, hey, I've got my design system in place. This is ready for development. So I'd most probably make the stroke color match that as well, so that it stands out when it's actually on page. But over here on the actual section frame, you could see mark as ready for dev. click on that button. On the left hand side, you now get this green like developer icon, that emoji that shows, which like back in the day, well, I shouldn't say back in the day, it only launched like today for us. If I'm working on a journey, I would have an actual section where, you know, some form of like ready for dev would show for people. I would actually like on the different stages in the journey, I'd say whether it's live or whether it's currently in progress, depending upon what developers are still working on. And then once that emoji shows and it's ready for dev, then you literally can click on this little icon and say open dev mode, or you can click on this top right icon. So you turn that icon on and off, that goes into dev mode. You can click on this, boom, now you're in dev mode, click on it again, remove ready status if you wanted to. Personally, you don't need to. Once it's in dev mode and your status is ready, you're good to go. Then you can double check, click inside of the frame of what you've been working on and see how things are on the actual inspect panel. And this is actually very helpful for a designer, because let's say you had a combination of components. I'll give you an example. So if I go out of dev mode and I go to like, basically, let's turn this off. So boom, it's in dev mode, open dev mode, remove ready status. In my layers panel, let's turn off dev mode again. In my layers panel, still getting used to it, guys. Forgive me. Click on components. Well, I shouldn't say click on components. I've made a page for components. So when I make pages for components, normally it's way more organized than this. This is just really messy. Let's use let's say a progress bar component that I have here. In the actual progress bar component, you can see all of the statuses here ready of what you've created. Now, if I go to my design, and let's use a state where, okay, here we go. On this page of the design, you can see where the progress bar is showing. I would then go into dev mode, click on that. And then within this now, you can open the playground. And when you open the playground, all of the states for that actual component that you've created will show as well, which is really, really clever. So I really like how they've connected it closer to what you're doing as a designer. Let me just sharpen it up a little bit. And it's a really great way to get design and dev much closer together. So fundamentally, this is going to be super great new update for designers. There's a few more I wanted to talk about, but before I actually go into that, let me just make sure that I'm touching on all of their updates. So that design dev, I know we kind of hammered it a little bit here. I'm going to go do deep videos when I go even deeper into this, because I really love this feature. The ability to actually connect your plugins in is super helpful. Bringing Figma closer into your workflow for engineers, that's really, really great. Another thing that I'm still getting my head into are variables, and I'm still working out like how variables will work. But you could see here in their variables playground, we'll get back to that. But one of the key things that they talk about with variables is the ability, if I go back to variables collections, is to create these collections. And these would be collections would have a combination of variables inside them. So think of it like colors, spacing values. You might have text values in there, etc., which is super clever. And then when you're building your actual variables, you have to just be mindful about how you label things so that you're super clear as to how things are structured within the file. But what I would suggest is check out their playground file and go in. But what I really find really exciting about this is the modes that you can create. So within variables, you can create a light theme and a dark theme. And as a result, when you have a design, it's really easy to switch between both your light theme and your dark theme. You can see how they've built it here in this file. So you can see light colors for buttons and dark colors, all the colors for the dark theme. So these themes can switch really, really quickly. And basically, I started playing around with it today with one of my team members. And it was as simple as like you change the frame to a dark, you change the background color to dark, and any button that you drop onto any componentized button that you drop onto that frame, as long as you've got the themes in place, it will just inherit all of the colors based upon that theme. It's like really clever. I'm still getting my head into it to make sure I get to understand it properly, but my team member, he's super great, like quick, he picks up things quickly. I need to go through it a couple times and then I get it and then I can teach it and then it super makes sense to me. So I really love this. Like, you've got 2 modes, light, dark, you might have modern, etc., different themes, but this is super clever the way that you've got these different themes. And you can, in a sense, build something once, and if you wanted to switch out the theme, it could be really, really quick as well. So much quicker than just having to change colors individually across the whole thing. So it's really clever how how they've done this. I'm playing around with this still, but definitely download this file from Figma. It's called a variables playground. It will really help you understand how to use their new features even better. Another new feature that I think is going to be super beneficial for many of us as designers is this ability to, they basically upgraded the auto layout functionality, but more specifically, it's in the ability to wrap components within auto layouts. I think, where did I read about it again? So advanced, I think it was either maybe here where you can have like closer alignment. They also have, I don't know if you can see here on the left hand side, they've added in this extra functionality here. So where you've got like left, vertical, horizontal, now you've got the ability to just wrap within an actual frame, or sorry, I shouldn't say frame, within an auto layout, which is really clever. So another piece of functionality that I can't get my head around. Sorry, let me not say can't get my head around. I just got to play with it. So this is something that I'm definitely going to be going into and playing around with a bit more. Let me see if I can just do it while I'm here, potentially. So let's come out of dev mode, obviously. I'm in my playground. Let's drop some shapes in. Give that color. Boom. Let's give that a color. Let's give all these different colors. Let's see what we can do, because it should be quite straightforward. So I've actually created, let's say you've got a combination of things inside, you know, call that container. That's container number 1. So you've got vertical, let me not say that. Yep, vertical layout, horizontal layout, right? But now you've got the ability to wrap. So when it wraps, it will just automatically drop down onto that second line. And you can see how everything starts to follow that. Which is really clever. So everything within the auto layout frame, or the auto layout, I should say, starts to wrap within. Now, if it was just on horizontal, what would happen is, unless I set everything in here to basically fill the frame, you know, if you want to maintain your height and width, then that doesn't really work. So now you can see everything's resizing within the frame, but that's only because I've put everything to fill within the frame. Another way you could do it is set the container to hug, but it only hugs the content within. But even though it hugs the content within, once you take that same frame, or that auto layout frame, I should say, and you start to move it, it becomes fixed. So this ability to wrap keeps everything contained and constrained within that auto layout, which is really clever, and allows you to be able to wrap within a frame, which is clever. So yeah, this is super good. Definitely something I'm going to be utilizing a lot more. So it allows you to really think about how you build your components a lot better. So let's say you had like a filter section, and in that filter section on a web page, you have multiple different options, and then you might want to show it in tablet form, mobile form, but it's the same filter. You might want options to wrap or something like that, like a blog page with all these different filters that go horizontally when it's in desktop, but it might wrap when it's on mobile. Potentially that could be a kind of use case. There's multiple use cases, by the way. I'm just trying to think of head as how that could actually work, which I think is super good as well. So another thing I want to talk about while we're here, I kind of wanted to share some design tips that I think would be super helpful. Let me just jump into a file quickly and just share with you some of the kind of things that I'm doing right now. One of the key things I want to share with you is a kind of structure that I use when building out funnels, when building out landing pages, when I'm helping, thinking about it with my teams, or working with specific on independent projects as well. So this is kind of a way that I build out landing pages with a simple structure. We call this the well, 7 P's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 P's of a landing page. Another formula that you can use is what we call ADA. And that's a really good structure to use when it comes on to landing pages, which is the ADA principle. So the ADA principle is awareness, interest, desire, and then action. And that could be a way that you can structure a web page. But I kind of wanted to share this with you because this is really, really good. So let's say you take a landing page. That landing page is really something that you can work with. So you might have, okay, what's the key promise that you're providing to that specific avatar or that specific person that you're selling this product or service to, and get specific, right? Outcome in no time without this struggle. So I always like to use numbers if possible. So, hey, within the next 90 days, try this, or use this product within the next night, or how this product can help change your life within the next 30 minutes or something like that. I'm not saying how to do that, but some kind of what we call a benefits driven statement. And if you can connect it with some numbers or something like that, that's really valuable as well. I don't really like spitting off head like this. I want to try and find some examples, but I really want to show you this structure to help you. So you've got your key promise that you might have top of the page, and kind of some image that relates to whatever you're selling. It could be a video, could be a contact form, etc. But you know, image or video is ideal. Then proof is like, who have you worked with before in the past? Who are the companies that you're connected to? Who have you helped? Some kind of proof. So this could be companies, awards, associations, ratings, reviews, some kind of proof to just bring up social proof. What is the problem you're addressing? And I've put here the top 3 problems your ideal customer is facing now, plus a lead magnet or some very clear call to, I should actually say lead magnet / call to action. Some very clear call to action. So you can basically say headline about why we understand the problem, headline with a unique selling proposition, and a short summary of the key feature and how it benefits to the customer. So you're just highlighting the problem, you're just agitating. Then you've got a clear, okay, basically now you know what's the promise, what's the proof, what's the problem. Now let me show you the process. So what you'll learn, here's how I will help you. Here's the process that we go through. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, how do you actually do it, and being very clear about that process as well. And then you can go a bit into the person or the program or business, etc. that you're highlighting, and you can have it here. So this is now where you might use the black to say visually you're going to break the page, do something bold, different to kind of highlight who this person is or who this company is and what's so special about them. Then you can do more social proof again. Leveraging testimonials I find fantastic because that really is helpful. And then you can go into here's product or service. And this is an optional one, this product or service one, because this product or service can come out, and it could be where instead of product or service, what you could do is you basically have some kind of what we call a lead magnet. Download this guide, this white paper, etc. So you could be trying to give something away, or you might have some kind of product or service that you want to sell that goes there as well. Second page, like if it's a funnel, this is where you can use video, call out your ideal customer, use the video, and it's really clear. So this landing page or invitation page could actually be the first step in the funnel, but you can use both of these as structures. So like, you know, when you've got video, what's great is your page density can be less because video can actually answer a lot more objections. You know, then more social proof, back to problem again, but you may not need to highlight as much. Go deeper into the process, who you are, who the business is, etc. You know, you can use some form of what we call scarcity. You know, we only have X amount of spots. We only work with X amount of people. This month we can only sign up 2 people. Will you be one of them, etc. And then you can go into what we call risk reversal. So this is basically how can you provide them with some sort of guarantee. So this could be if you don't make money in the first 90 days, you get all of your money back. Or maybe in a design standpoint, you might say something like, all right, work with us, and if you don't like what you see, we'll just refund you all your money within the first 30 days or something like that. So it's some way to just alleviate the risk And then some frequently asked questions relevant to this offer, and then your footer, right? So this is kind of like a clear structure, 2 clear structures to different first pages in the steps. Now you might use all 4 stages, where the first one you might want to go expand a bit more, speak a bit more about your offer. But I like to go specifically invitation page, leverage video. If you're not leveraging video, you might use images, but you might go deeper into the problem because you're not leveraging video. And then offer page, hey, book a roadmap, book a free strategy session. It could, and then the video, this is not really clear because basically one of the key things you want to do is basically, you know, you want to, what we call, so Calendly or some type of scheduling tool. This is not actually correct. Yeah. So ideally what you want here is some kind of like, hey, this is where you can do 2 things. You can basically send them straight to book a call, right? And that book a call would actually be this, where you have Calendly, some type of scheduling tool, or it could be, hey, here, let me tell you about what you're about to get. Let me go deeper into offer, just one more step, and then Calendly. So it's up to you. But more time, what I'm finding is you really only need 3 steps. Like, hey, let me tell you why you should sign up for this call, especially for service-based businesses anyway. This is great. Great funnel for service-based businesses. I should have clarified that in the beginning. But I like to use this structure to really help me think through how I'm building out pages. And it's really helpful as well to go through this. So here you could see where I'm working with this on an independent project, working with this client. His name's Garfield. You can see here his current website. You know, to the designers out there, you know, you can already see the issues, the font, the bold text. This is an actual graphic. The actual image is a graphic with him stuck on it, so it's not responsive. You know, placement of the button, logo and graphical style, the height of the logo, the size of the icon. Like, there's multiple different problems with this page. You know, the green color against the white background and contrast, and how does it work? And yeah, there's just multiple things, like just different sizes of text. I mean, you know, the lack of accessibility, you can't really see it potentially, but like there's a slight different green on some of the buttons as well, and the size of the buttons is slightly off by a couple pixels. So yeah, you know, this page is a page that we wanted to think through as to how we could work. And currently this project is still in process, so like it's not complete, but I just wanted to show you how I'm thinking about it, leveraging the structure that you saw previously. So here you've got some website copy, and this is me just basically, like, one of the key things I love to do is think through, okay, what are we actually working on? And before we actually go into design, let's just get the copyright, who are we speaking to? So I do a whole process around who is our ideal customer, what's their pains, what's their fears, what's their desires, what's their goals, etc. Going deep into that. And then we kind of create copy that is reflective of who we're talking to, right? And the copy will help drive the design. And that's really helpful for so many designers. So their previous logo, the previous logo that he had was kind of this dated look and feel. And you've got this kind of modern sans serif font with this serif fonts, which is fine. But the issue is the placement of the text, just the way that it works in connection with his brand just didn't feel like the kind of direction he wanted to go. So one of the key things I did was kind of think through how we could redo the logo icon. That was one of the first things I worked on, making sure it looks good in black and white. To rechange the font, this font is called Helvetica New Medium Extended. And then I was playing around with this font here, which is called Canada Gothic. What's beautiful about what Figma have done now is that Figma now have this preview functionality within fonts, which is actually a plugin previously, which is called this plugin called Font Preview. And I used to use this plugin called Font Preview, but now I don't even need it anymore because Figma now allow you. I always wondered for the longest time, if I'm honest, why Figma took so long to, you know, that felt like a kind of foundational feature. Why would you not want that with so many fonts on someone's system, especially designers? Designers have tons of fonts on their systems. But it took them ages to get this in, but I'm just happy this is in because this is so beneficial for us as designers. But basically, what you can see here, I'm just playing with different fonts, seeing how it works. One of the color palettes, because he's a finance coach, he specializes in helping businesses improve their finances and reach $1 million in revenue. This is something that I was like, all right, could we use different color palettes? He said he wanted something initially quite bold, quite different, to look separate from his competitors. So one of the key things I forgot to share with you is I would basically go and do some research, look at multiple different competitors online, see how their pages are designed, see how their layouts are. Here's what I'm talking about when I say benefits driven statements, leveraging numbers. So discover how to feel loved, safe, understood, happy, and committed in your relationships whilst fixing any issues in under 90 days, even if you're not the only one trying. So I thought that quite interesting. You know, you've got this the kind of benefits driven statement to the ideal customer, and that also has a very clear, you know, under 90 days promise, you know, very strong promise as well. So this is something that I can see where, okay, the benefits driven statement makes sense. Clear call to action, clear video. Here's what you'll get in this training. Click on this link and you can go through in the funnel. And that's why I want to show you in the structure of the landing pages. Here you can see some of the big boys in the space, Mel Robbins, some templates that I found on some, you know, I think they were Kajabi templates that I saw. And then just a few other like coach templates that I found as well. And I was looking at like different color schemes to just be completely different from what he had found previously. And what would that look like if me just playing around with color palettes and seeing what works? One of the color palettes I really liked was Envision's color palette. I thought it felt quite professional, quite mature, while at the same time quite modern, if that makes sense. Just the look and feel, I think it was done really well with this branding. And the color palette they've used is quite a challenging palette, but I think it's the way they've executed it is really, really good. So to the Envision team out there, if any of you are watching this, well done. Really good work from you guys. So yeah, so just back to the original. When I looked at it, I just wasn't feeling it. So I started to play around with the logo, getting the logo right, making sure that worked. This was a quick project. It's only it's about 3 days of work, ideally after work. So I'm doing this in the evenings after work, just 3 days. Then you've got, you know, boom, me playing around with it on here, seeing if any of them stood out. And there was two that really stood out to me. That kind of yellow against the black was quite strong. And then this black against the green, black against white was strong. And then also this kind of green with this kind of off-white cream is what I liked as well. So then I started to just not do the designs of the website, but just playing around with the actual layout on page. The only thing is his images were not up to date. No modern images, just images that I had to like borrow from LinkedIn and stuff. And just see how can we just leverage. I only had 3 images, see what it worked. So it's just me playing around with that money green and seeing and nothing worked. Like no matter how I structured the page, nothing really worked. So we had a conversation about this, and you know, content was still working on the content, still working through design. We're nowhere near there yet. But one of the key things that we kind of landed on was this new visual, brand new image, which feels a lot more professional, a lot better, cleaned and kicked it right back, just keeping it white. But instead of me using the black, I used the dark forest green. So I use a dark forest green on the fonts, and you can see here where we use this font here called Canada Gothic, extra bold. See it's at 120 height, because I was like anything less can feel like, you can see here where the comma kind of taps into it, and anything more than 120 kind of feels a bit too spacious. So I kept the line height here at 120 because I felt like that was like a really nice balance. And then you've got like a couple pixels here, about 3 or 4 pixels between that comma here. So I felt like this actually worked a lot better, but I'm still trying to play with this kind of like sans serif fonts versus sans serif fonts on the buttons. So you can see here where we've got this font here. What is the font I use called New York Extra Large versus this font here called Circular, right? You can see here where this font here is called Circular. So I'm just trying to see like which one would make more sense when I'm laying it out as well on the page, and which one feels a bit better. And then the structure, I'm still trying to work through how content will be laid out on the page. I'm not trying to get this design ready 100% yet. He's got an app, so we're still going to get that screenshot in and get more content on the page. But I was like, okay, cool. So let me go darker and see how a darker palette feels. So this is kind of how I'm thinking about it, just working through the different designs. I do have tons of competitors that I'm looking at, but I'm not even trying to. I hope you can see the difference between like some of these competitor websites and how they structure it. It's like very much like heavy funnel driven salesy structures to like a lot of their pages. So it's all about funnels. This is all funnel driven, built-in click funnels. So it looks like it. All the like funnel driven structure and style, very American way of design, which works really well for these kind of heavy funnels. But for a landing page of a coach, this needs, for me, it needs to be just kicked right back. Who are you? What do you do? And keep it really like considered in the way that he presents himself as well. So this is me playing with the kind of yellow as well. How does yellow work? Now kind of decided where we're using the Canada font here in the titles. We might use a more sans serif font here on the actual call to actions to see how that feels as well. So I'm kind of landing upon these two for now. So where the money green, the kind of dark forest green sits in the back, and the money green becomes our core CTA on the site. The rest of the site, I'm still working through the design, but I just wanted you to see this as I'm working on something in progress. But if you think about where we were over here on the left to where we are now to here on the right, personally, I feel like we're like completely in a different space, right? Talking to a much more mature, design mature audience. They understand what good design looks like, how you present well. And here you can see, this is now how you can feel a lot more confident having a site like this. Imagine this in mobile where it kind of starts to stack as well. I feel like this will work really well. So I'm still work in progress. If you guys want to see more like this, let me know, and I'll happily share that with you as well. So before we go on, one of the key things I want to talk about is something that's really been on my mind recently, and it's a simple scripture that I wanted to share with you all. It's actually in the book of Ecclesiastes. Let me find it. All right, so this is an amazing scripture that I wanted to share with you that I think is super helpful, especially for us as designers, creatives. It's quite powerful scripture. I'll show it with you. So it says, whatever you do, do well. For when you go to the grave, there will be no work or planning or knowledge or wisdom. But I like the real beginning of it. It says, whatever you do, do well. It words it another way in the New King James. It says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. For there is no work or device or knowledge or wisdom in the grave where you are going. Some may feel like the end is a bit morbid, like, oh yeah, we know we're gonna die, kind of thing. Ugh. But the key thing I want you to understand here is just like whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. So it's like I really wanted to share this with you because even though I've been a designer for over 12 years now, and even though I've been a designer for over 12 years, one of the key things that I'm loving is like, how can I be more accountable to myself? And like even tonight, I was watching a video from one of my mentors, and I just got to big him up, Mr. Anton Daniels. I kind of see him as one of my online mentors, even though we've never met. I watch his content, very inspirational guy. One of the key things I love with what he speaks about is like really working hard, really striving to be the best, really working on the things that you think are going to be very, very important for you. So I wanted to share this video with you quickly, and just give my raw thoughts on it. This is by a business owner, Leela Hormozy, which some of you may have seen online. She's the wife of a gentleman called Alex Hormozy, but man, she stands so tall on her own, and then as a couple together, I really appreciate what they're putting out into the world to help businesses grow. So let's just hear this together, and then we're just going to jump straight in.
Accountability. Who here has accountability in their business? Is that part of the service you offer? Yep. Wonderful. So what is accountability? Let's define it for the sake of this conversation or presentation. Accountability is the quality or state of being responsible to one's obligations. Okay, so holding someone accountable means holding them responsible for their actions and results.
All right. So I know she's speaking about it from the standpoint of a CEO, a business person. So that how is it that we as designers can apply wisdom from this? Because also I'm sharing you a biblical scripture here. Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. So in the NLT, whatever your hands find to do, do it well. So I love what she's saying here. The first step, or one of the key things that you have to offer from a business owner's perspective, is accountability. But how much should that be for us on an individual level, just to be accountable to our own words first? Like, what is it that we've said we do? And I'm a designer by trade. That's what I do specifically. I love to speak as well, and share my thoughts from stage to help others grow as designers, or I also speak in my church as well. But what you see here is this: accountability is the quality or state of being responsible to one's obligations. And for me, this is really helpful, really essential. Being responsible to your obligation, to one's obligations, and holding someone accountable. Forget some, holding one, me. How do I hold me more accountable to the things I say I'm going to do? So one of the scriptures that I like to think through when I'm talking about this is Habakkuk 2:4. So Hab 2 verse 4. Let me show you the scripture, Habakkuk 2:4. No, 2 to 4. It's actually verse 2 to 4. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. But at the end it will speak and will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold the proud, his soul is not upright with him, but the just shall live by faith. Specifically, I just want to highlight this, and then we're going to go back into the point on accountability. When I'm talking here, is that whenever you have a goal, whenever you have something you want to achieve, you want to write it down. Whenever you say you're going to do something, you want to write it down. Similar to here, write the vision down and make it plain. Write the vision down, write it down, or write the vision. If I read it in the King James, see if I can find it. No, I'll just go to NLT. It's a paraphrase, but it's fine. Write the answer plainly on tables, So like, make sure whatever you want to achieve, make it plain. And this is why I want to highlight this point about accountability, because it's very important that you understand that for yourself. Let me continue.
As a person who manages people, it is your job to let people know, let your direct reports know, let your team know how they are doing in relation to how they are expected to be doing. So when people are like, how do I hold people accountable? I'm like, oh my God, it's this. Like, how are you doing versus like, how are you supposed to be doing, right?
And this is, for me, why I like this as well, because I'm also a lead designer. I manage people. So I realized that for me, leadership fundamentally is about service, but I actually manage from the mindset of a leader on a personal note. So I love this book by John C. Maxwell. I don't know if any of you can see it here. John C. Maxwell. It's called the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This is a powerful book specifically for anyone that is leading people, managing people. Even if you're young in your career, you definitely want to use something like this. It's a great way to keep your leaders accountable. But specifically, if you're a manager, in my context, a product design manager, this is a fantastic book. It's called The Making of a Manager by Julie Zhao. So I love reading this because this has got some super practical advice from someone who's been a product design manager like myself. So let me just keep continuing in what she's saying here as well.
And it is your job. Now, where I've seen this go wrong in so many cases is that we believe that it is the job of somebody else on the team. There was a time when I thought this was a job for a trainer, for a coach, for a general manager, or a manager. But I realized that is not the case. In fact, it is the #1 job of the CEO and of the founder. Because what you do is you don't delegate accountability. You disseminate it down.
Man, come on. You don't delegate accountability, you disseminate it down. So it's this kind of mindset shift of, you are the person that first has to be the example of what you want to see in your team. It's not just about managing to make sure that what is asked to be delivered gets done, but it's making sure that, okay, how do we exemplify excellence? How do we exemplify high standards. This is something I'm holding myself to. I'm someone that made a mistake this week. I made an agreement that what I had decided to speak about with someone that I respect, when we became in this public forum, I didn't stick to it. I kind of let other people sway my opinions, and it went in another direction. And it's one of them ones when I was like, all right, cool, I've got to be more accountable to what I say I'm going to do. So like, if I say I'm going to stick to something or say I'm going to do something, to not let the opinions of others just sway me here and there. Because I've seen even in myself where, if I can be just open with you guys, I can see even in myself where there's areas in my character where it's like, okay, that sounds like a strong opinion. I may not know 100% of how I'm going to back it up with full data. So let's just go along with what you said, even if I may not 100% agree, but I'm not too sure how I'm going to disagree in a way that makes sense in the time. But if you've got real strong views and opinions on something, let your views and opinions be known and try your best not to make yourself get swayed by others. Now, some other people are more disagreeable by nature, so that's not even an issue for them. But for someone like myself, where I've seen that aspect in my character that in some areas can work for me, but in other areas it can work against me, it's very good to voice your opinion and speak, especially if you're going to speak about being a leader. To serve people the best, you want them to very clearly know what you want or what you desire. In a respectful manner, you've got to appreciate them, know that they're cared for, but you've got to also give them clarity. And clarity is given through transparency and authenticity as well. Let's just dive deeper into what she's saying here as well.
By holding, whether you have an operations manager, a head of sales, a head coach, whatever it is, those people right below you, you hold them the most accountable so that then it disseminates down from them into the rest of the team. Does that check out? Amazing. There was a
Excellent, man. So that this is an even more powerful statement, you know? So it's like top-down dissemination of accountability. It's like, who should be the most accountable? The CEO. The CEO's level of accountability would then reflect to his senior level, chief level execs. Their level of accountability disseminates to their VPs or senior level management, etc., and so on and so forth. So it's kind of interesting when you think of it like that, that also accountability can highly be tied to the performance of an organization or business. So when I look at it for myself, if I'm a designer within a team, I can't let the accountability or what I'm not seeing from my manager affect how I should work. But also in the same breath, the way that the manager works or some leader in the company works, I should say, more the leaders are working or how they're operating will also impact the way that we're working in a team as well if we're not careful. So it's something I'm paying attention to.
There's a time where I thought that if you hire experienced enough people, you don't need to hold them accountable. Well, that's fucking wrong. And it took me 3 years to figure that out, because what I did was that I didn't understand that it's really not CEO, it is Chief Accountability Officer. You are the one that holds the standards for the whole organization, and the way that you do that so that everyone else sees is how you hold your leaders responsible.
Boom. So I'm just gonna leave it there just so you hear that, but like, hear what she's saying there, that Chief Accountability Officer, you know, that for me is something I take on a personal. Like, how do I hold me accountable? I'm the Chief Accountability Officer to the things I say I'm going to do and achieve. I'm the Chief Accountability Officer over what I've been asked or tasked to do. So how can I be more accountable? How can I make that a standard that I strive towards? And how can that be something for me that I'm working forward for as well? So I could go deeper. She got loads of more gems in this presentation. All power to her, respect to her and her husband for even putting this stuff out in the world, because it's so valuable. But just like these soft skills are sometimes the skills as designers that can be overlooked, that we don't pay attention to. Like, as much as Figma's new updates is like really great, you know, big up Figma, all powerful, love getting into the tacticalness of it. But the soft skills are the things that make you more influential in a workplace. As much as you develop the hard skill of going in on Figma, you want to also develop the soft skills of being impactful in the lives of others, your teammates that you surround yourself around. And also, once you start managing people like myself and others, then you want to be even more accountable to the work you deliver, because people fundamentally want to work with great people. They want to work with people that inspire them. They want to work with people they know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. They call it the KLT factor. Know, like, trust. And people that are really trying to do big things. They've got big vision. They're trying to take us in a certain way, a certain direction as well. So one of the key things I love to do with my team is like have a clear goal or vision that we're trying to go towards. So we might have a mission, which is like, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve in the short term or over a period of time. But the vision is like, okay, you may never even reach the vision, but we're just going to cast it anyway. One of the people I love to, many designers, I should say, are inspired by is Christo at the Future. And I know that one of their, if not one of their, but one of their big vision is 1 billion, right? The Future's mission is to help 1 billion people make a living doing what they love. To join us and you'll receive a permanent number. So I joined it time ago, but I really like this kind of big mission. You know, we're on a mission, 1 billion, boom. It's quite big. Like whether they reach it or not is not the goal. It's that striving towards this big mission is I find really, really helpful and a good way to think as well. And even if you're a designer within a team, smaller team, don't worry, still cast vision, because vision really helps to align the team and keeps everybody charged towards a bigger goal. But foundationally, underneath all of that is accountability, and which is super helpful. All right. So the last thing I wanted to touch on before I leave you all today was actually I saw this video here. Patrick David, I would say he's another mentor of mine. It's funny because I'm a designer, but I actually listen to business people. Personally, I just find it better. That's just me. So I like listening to business people. So let me just share this video with you and then we're going to go straight in.
And, you know, as a kid, having a dream, you know, sports, all this stuff, reading daily news, reading LA Times, you know, following basketball, Magic versus Jordan that won finals in 1991, or, you know, baseball relating to who Juan Gonzalez was at Texas Rangers, my height, the swing I wanted to emulate, or the Mickey Mantle card that, you know, I wanted one day. Now I got a few Mickey Mantle cards, or, you know, the dream of Babe Ruth cards. Oh, my God, Babe, or this or that, or football, all these things.
So you can see where he's like setting us up for something big, some big announcement. But it's interesting, before we even get to whatever his announcement is, that I love how he's just touching on like childhood influences. And no matter how old we get, there's something about some key things we connect to as young children, and paying attention to that, thinking about what inspired us when we were younger. Could some of those things when we were younger even inspire us today?
This has been in the works. It's been a dream. It's crazy. I got a call last year about a conversation of if I have any interest of being a minority owner of any team.
Stop it.
Oh my! Shut up.
And
Stop it, people.
I at first I was going back and forth. So I said, let me get my lawyers involved. We got the lawyers involved. And after the lawyers getting involved, and I'm like, is this real? Are we doing this? Are we not? Yes. And then here's the options. I said, no, I'm not interested in this, not interested in this. He said, but there's this one option. This man who was on the board of this team, he's coming up for retirement and he wants to sell his shares. Would you entertain this? And I said, sure. So anyways, long story short, effective last Friday, after background checks with MLB, after 40 articles I've written, after all of these things that's happened, effective last Friday, I'm a minority owner of the New York Yankees.
Let's go, baby! Let's go, Pat! And we won the Shut up, Pat!
That's
Now,
why
come
you
on,
wore
man.
this.
No.
There we go.
I had to throw you up.
All right. So let me just pause this right here and let me show you. I'm going to show you a couple things happening here as to like why I felt like I wanted to share this with you. So number one, you know, that kind of connection to his childhood team. You know, I don't think I've ever watched a baseball game in my life, but I definitely know the New York Yankees. Yeah. So one of the key things I can see here is like this connection to his childhood dream. His ability, if you go deeper into his story, is very powerful, to have built himself up through his own hard work and effort, and then building a team and a business, etc. I find that very inspirational. Another thing I liked as well is the fact that he got a phone call and someone brought the opportunity to him, he didn't go and seek the opportunity, although it's something, there's still a dream connected to the big goal. It's like he's just working on his day-to-day mission, being excellent. You remember what I showed you about earlier? Whatever your hands find to do, you do it with all your might. You know, so he's working hard at this thing, and then he gets this call and the opportunity comes to him. And I love that about this story, that, you know, as you're working hard day to day on the things that you're doing, opportunities will come to you. And also it's about having the wisdom, the knowledge, the foresight to know which opportunities are right for you, because not all opportunities are good. You'll most probably get to a stage in life, and I've started to experience it in some ways, where you don't need all opportunities. Not all opportunities are good for you. But, you know, without wisdom, I believe wisdom from God, but without good understanding, knowledge of yourself, what you're good at, what your strengths and weaknesses are, etc. Well, what works for you? And we can go into that another time. But another thing, if we just pop it, look.
Let's go, baby! Let's go, Pat! And we won the tournament!
Now, why am I doing that? His circle. You know, one of the key things, I think, especially from my perspective as a man, I value my friendships. You know, I've got some amazing people around me. Me and my friends, we had a ministry some years ago, which we call Preaching Place. We even still have our YouTube channel up online, where we'd come together, we'd share what we learned about the gospel. And we were able to travel to Bermuda 3 times, Amsterdam, Germany, France multiple times. We went to America, etc. All through us sharing our story and about how God has done amazing things for us. But what was more important is that the brotherhood, the connection, and even as we got married and had families, we still keep in touch today, right? And yet we live a bit further, so we have to be very intentional about linking up. But there is a power in having good people around you. But more importantly, if you can see here, the people around him, look at their reaction, right? They're happy for him. They're just as happy for him as he is for himself, setting us up with that childhood dream and sharing with us more about, you know, how he got to where he got to, but just to see the reaction of his friends.
Shut up, Pat!
That's why you wore this.
No.
There we go.
I had to throw you off. I came in with a Joe Burrow
Bro.
jersey, dog.
Pat,
What the hell does
Are
this
you
mean?
serious?
I'm serious, yeah.
Let's go, baby!
Yeah, this
What?
just this happened last Friday. We're in Bermuda. I get the news.
What?
Lawyer calls the CFO, Tony, from Yankees. Congratulations, you're officially part of the team.
Pat, are you kidding?
I gotta
What
tell
does
you,
that even mean?
when I
What does
went
that
to
even
when I
mean?
went to the Schultz podcast, my idea was I was going to announce this on the Schultz podcast.
What?
So I'm like,
And this was even deeper as well. It's like he was going to announce it on the Schultz podcast. If anyone doesn't know Andrew Schultz, he's a comedian. He has his own podcast, very big podcast, very powerful. But, you know, time and place, he did it here around his friends, around his core group, around his core collective. And it's super great to see. I've got his book as well, Your Next 5 Moves, you know. So like, it's, and the reason why I kind of labeled this kind of segment inspirational content is there's a power in seeing people reach their goals. I love it. Personally, I love it. I want to see more of it. You know, sometimes I'm looking at my YouTube feed and I'm like, why is this coming up? But it's because the algorithm is feeding me some things where I may have watched something else before in passing, or may have watched some content. I'm like, just realizing that content's not feeding me. I don't want to watch more of that. But what do I want to watch more of? People reaching their goals, people hitting their dreams, people having beautiful friendships and having amazing people around them. This is the kind of content that I want to see more of. And this is the kind of content that I know is valuable to other people as much as it's valuable to them. All power to him. I have no desire to own an American baseball team, let alone an English football team. But I love seeing people hit their goals and hit big goals, right? Even goals that they most probably never even thought they would hit, but they've actually gone about doing it. So this is something powerful to see personally for me. And, you know, there should be no jealousy going in the direction of this man. You know, he puts so much value into the world. My goal is to shake his hand one day. Now I'm playing, you know, Jesus first, but, you know, shake his hand, all appreciation to the work that they do from afar. But, you know, big up to Patrick, David and all of their team. I really appreciate putting this energy out into the world and putting this out to like really share like what you've been able to achieve as well. So I won't hammer the point too much. I've definitely go and watch this. I've been dreaming about this since I was a kid. PBD makes a major announcement is the name of this video here. Definitely give it a like. I'm gonna drop a comment as well. Definitely that should go viral in my opinion. But it's one of those ones where I really appreciate just hearing stuff like this, seeing not only that it can be done, but seeing that it's someone from a poor background. So it'd be interesting to see like what more of his friends say. I think it was later on.
I want to hug you.
The owner
so,
of the Red
yeah.
Sox started in South Florida as a minority owner of the Marlins.
There you go. So,
Oh my
just
God.
know, moving forward, we're wearing Yankees. Peter over there, who's
Peter
a Red Sox
flipping
guy, is like, I hate you. I can't believe you're doing this.
Did you hear him bang?
Anyways.
He banged on the door. That was Peter banging on the door. Unbelievable. Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Oh
Listen to
my
this now.
God.
Listen to this.
It's only in America. Yep.
That's right.
Go ahead.
That I
Made
agree.
in Iran.
Yeah.
Escapes Iran.
Yeah.
1991. Right.
November 20, 1990, I come here.
1990. Lives in a refugee camp in Germany. Escapes Christian in Iran. Escapes everything that's going on with the mullahs, the Ayatollah. Comes here. 1.8 GPA in high school. Nobody thought you would do anything in your life. He didn't think he could.
I'm
Exactly.
just going to do 20 years in the Army.
U.S. Army veteran. We all know those stories.
Working
of
on a
valleys.
tank.
So
We
you're
all know
doing the
those
Roy
stories of-
Firestone thing from Jerry Maguire, and you're
There
supposed
it
to
is.
cry now.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But this is more of a message to anybody. The victim mentality.
Yep.
Everything you do with PHP, everything you built with Valuetainment, now you're a part owner, a minority owner of the greatest sports franchise in American history.
Oh my God.
Only in America.
It's in the world. There's only about
Yeah.
the Mount Rushmore of sports franchises is the Yankees are on that, and
They're number one.
27
absolutely
championships. The most championships
And on a global soccer basis, even Man U is below that. Dallas Cowboys are up there, but this is the preeminent sports franchise in the world.
Hey, if you enjoyed this short clip, you want to watch the whole thing, click
So,
over here.
yeah, enough being said here. I just leave that with you to just ponder and just look at. Let me just try and pull in. Where's the full camera? Okay. Yeah, so that is just super helpful, man. Like, so from what we've been speaking about earlier on, from Figma, all the updates, sharing with you that Ecclesiastes 9:10 text, accountability, Pat David stuff. I mean, so much going on, honestly, team. But for me, I just wanted to leave with that because I really love how he presented that, speaking about his journey, how Adam left it at the end, coming from Iran, etc. That everybody has a story. He's human being just like me. He obviously has different skills because he's done the reading and the training and the etc. to help him get to where he was. He also is in America where there's lots of opportunity, which is fantastic. But if you have the ability to change your life, through personal effort, making the effort to like read, study, be around amazing people. I refuse to have a victim mindset like Adam touched on. I hate that. I believe we can achieve great things, so watching this is one of multiple things that I want to show to you all. But as much as some may say, oh, but you're just a designer wherever you are, listen, that's where I am today. Who knows where I'll be in the next 5 years. So write your vision down, make it plain, set it, make it big, make sure you're able to see it on a daily basis. If I had time, I would turn the camera around and just show you my vision board on the wall. But it's super powerful for me, and I just wanted to share that with you today. So if you want to get in touch with me, just message me, email me at hello@leifwallace.com, hello@leifwallace.com. Like and subscribe. Drop me a comment if you've loved this live stream for today. And if you want to see more videos like this, then just drop me a message in the comments just so I know if you want to see more like this. My first time doing this, just going live, speaking about different things I find interesting. But I really felt like this is stuff that I wanted to share with you. So yeah, as I'm consuming so much content online, I might as well record myself as I'm learning about things as well. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. Take care. You look after yourself and look after your families. And if you want to know more, in the description box, I have a free course for product designers. So if you're new to product design, you want to learn more about it, there's a free course that can help you. Click on the link below in the description box and take care. and see you later. Bye-bye.